In everybody. I can see over in the chat column, people are saying hi as they're jumping on board here, and we'll see that stream of names begin to grow. But thank you so much for your quick little introduction there, and welcome into this afternoon's program. We've got a little bit of time together, and I've got an exciting program that I want to share. I want to quickly offer up a little bit of an overview of what you can anticipate for the time that we'll spend here together, and then we'll quickly jump into my agenda and the content for the program that we have. I'm going to provide a little bit of introduction to myself and a little bit of setup for the concept that we're going to talk about, and then I'm going to take you through two distinct halves of the cosmetology barber crossover conversation, because it comes from two places and goes two directions. We'll get into that, and we'll save some time at the end of the presentation for some healthy and rollicking Q&A. Along the way, the chat function is open, and we've got team members here that are monitoring chat. If there are questions that are immediately timely and relevant to a point that I might make, whether something's misunderstood or needs some clarification, we'll jump in with those along the way. However, if the questions are more general in nature to the topic, what I've asked the moderators to do for us is to accumulate those, kind of compile those. Perhaps they're going to text me a few of them along the way here, and we'll have the opportunity to go through those at the end of the program. So don't hesitate to use that chat function to ping up some good stuff along the way. If I say something that gets you thinking, well, that's the whole point, is to get you thinking. So I'm not going to be using any kind of screen share, and I'm not going to be doing a technical demo. So if you can hear my voice, we're good to go. If you can see me, from time to time, I might hold up something. I've got a big fat marker, and I've got a whole bunch of cards. And you might want to get a pen and pencil out and be ready, because I am going to be referencing what I think are, relative to our subject today, potentially some very valuable resources. I've got some friends online and some places online that I think very much support the content that I hope to share. So that's enough about kind of order of business, and we'll get into things. I'm Ivan Zoot. I live in the northwest suburbs of the city of Chicago, not too terribly far away from Milwaukee, and of course, both the Madison campuses. Typically, I'm up and visiting the campuses about once a year to present programming to students and teachers up there, and alumni join us. And I really very much enjoy the time that I spend coming to visit the campuses. Normally it's about this time of year, and I have, recollections of it being cold in winter, because I can remember pulling my wheeled suitcase through the parking lot in Milwaukee, and that parking lot on the south side of the building is never really very well paved, and it's even worse in the winter. And I also have fond recollections of parking underneath the building in Madison, a parking lot I much prefer, where it's nice and warm, and my car gets to melt and warm up before the drive home to Chicago. So this right here serves as the replacement for those March visits to your two campuses, and I'm very much appreciative of the opportunity. The campuses hold a special place in my heart as well, because a couple of years ago, and many of you are familiar with my book, $100,000 Haircutter. I wrote this book. I sent it out for editing. It went out to print, and I began selling it digitally until the paper copies were ready. And when the paper copies were finally ready, my visit to the Milwaukee and the Madison campuses were the first classes I ever taught anywhere in the world where I actually had the book available for people to purchase. And purchase it, you guys did, and I appreciate it. So there are students out there who bought this book during classes at the campus. Now, the book's about 2 years old, and one of the traditions we have is we always start every one of my educational classes in a salon, in a school, at a trade show. We start it with an excerpt from the book, because the way the book works is it's one idea a day, every single day, for 365 days. So every day we turn to today and we read today. So today is March 27. It is day 86 of the year, with 279 days remaining in the year. For those of you who have seen the book, you also know it's loaded with my little clipper guide doodles. I've done all those myself. I don't have any artistic talent, and that hasn't stopped me from trying. But let's look at today, March 27, day 86, 279 days remaining in the year. It's all about the tracking, knowing where we are in the year and knowing where you are and where you're going. So today's tip, choose your weapon. Match the right comb to the right cutting tool. Very relevant for our crossover Cos and Barber topic. Now, I won't read the entire entry to you. I want you to know what it's about. It's about the idea that a clipper and a clipper comb are used together, and a cutting shear scissor and a cutting comb would be matched, and a thin, fine detailing and finishing comb would be used in conjunction with a detailer, liner, edger, or a trimmer. I'm of the philosophy that a razor, as an example, is used with a wide tooth comb for low tension and less structure to our cutting. So it's about matching the tool and the comb together, because the tool and the comb combine to provide the desired outcome for that haircut project. So that's today's excerpt from $100,000 Hair Cutter. Now, specifically today was a technical cutting tip. The book also contains management, hiring, training, recruiting, advertising, marketing, promotion, management, client building strategies, you name it. There's tons more stuff in there. And at the end of the program, I am going to offer for this group an exclusive coupon code for my website that will allow you, and I seldom go this high, but this is special for you guys. There's a 25% off coupon code for you to go online and buy that book if you wish. Normally, I don't go more than 20. Unusual times call for unusual measures. So we're going to offer you guys later in the program, stick around, an opportunity to purchase the book. And it's available paper, digital, or audio, 25% off. So we'll come back to that later. But I want to get into the program. So that's our $100,000 Hair Cutter tip of the day. I've got my little agenda. I'm crossing items off as we go. Cosmo Barberology, big fancy word. I put dashes in there. Cosmo Barber Ology. I created this several years ago. It was a curriculum. It was a format for programming that attempt to blend the best of classic barbering with the best of modern cosmetology. And I taught these, we call them CBO classes. I taught them all over the nation at major trade shows and things. And if I could twist my arm hard enough, I'd pat myself on the back, because I think I was ahead of the curve. Because today, right now, we're really experiencing a huge surge in interest on both parts of our business, cosmetology and barbering, in what the other guy is doing, in what the other folks are doing. This blending of, or this crossover, as we like to call it, between the cosmetology and the barber markets or communities. I want to talk a little bit about why I see that happening, and then we're going to talk about what we can learn from it. Largely, I blame Instagram. It's easy. Let's blame Instagram. I don't really mean I blame them, but a lot of the responsibility for this interest lies in what's happening on Instagram. We're posting pictures of haircuts, and we're seeing pictures of work, and we're scratching our head going, wait a minute, what's going on there? And I've said this, I think every barber in America right now wants to be a cosmetologist, but not exactly. That's not really what they want. And I think every cosmetologist in America wants to be a barber, but not exactly. I don't think that's exactly what they want. Let me explain. What I see happening is I see cosmetology professionals looking at the barber market and the barber world and the guy grooming game. Call it whatever you want. But they see this guy thing out there and they're going, I want a piece of that. I want my share of that. Cosmetology has never had 50% of their services provided to men, yet men represent approximately 50% of the marketplace. So the cos folks feel like they're leaving huge opportunity and huge money on the table. And I think that is very, very true. The flip side of that, of course, is the barber folks. The barber folks are looking at a lot of the modern contemporary men's grooming that's going on there today. And they're going, wait a minute, how'd they cut that top? How'd they get that texture? How'd they get that to do that? Because so much of modern men's grooming moves beyond what we'll classify as classic barbering. It's not that they want to be cosmetologists, but they want to be able to do some of that stuff. They want to be able to create work that moves over into the more fashionable, the more trendy, the more progressive, the more creative aspects of haircutting. So the cos folks are looking at the barbers and the barber folks are looking at the cos. And one of the big challenges is traditionally these two groups have not been very nice to each other. I mean, let's be honest. They really spend a lot of time talking smack about the other guys. The cos folks say things about the barbers like, well, those barbers, they only know two haircuts, short and shorter. And there might be some truth to that. And the barber folks say things about the cosmetologists like, you know, those girls don't know how to cut hair with clippers. Let's be honest, there might be some truth to that. I have both a cos and a barber license. When I went to cosmetology school, our clipper cutting was 1 hour on one morning on a Wednesday. That's all we got in what at the time, and I'm going way back because I've been doing a game for a long time, in what at the time was considered one of the finest cosmetology educations available in the world. And we got little or no clipper education back then. I went to barber school later after I'd already got a lot of my clipper cutting and my barbering education on the street from mentors and employers and bosses and coworkers and teammates who were sharing with me what they knew. So we have this history of not being so nice to one another. So my Cosmo Barberology program, my CBO approach was all about, hey, what if? I'm a what if guy. What if? Time out, pause, stop. What if rather than trashing each other, what if we looked at cos and we looked at barbering and we took the best of both, a blended approach to managing haircutting? What if we said, hey, you know what? Barbering has classic techniques, specific tools, rich traditions. What if we took the best of that? And what if we looked at cos and what if we said cos has unique approaches? Cos has its own group of mentors, legends, and heroes. Cosmetology has its way of the world, if you will. What if we took the best of both, dumped them in a blender, put the lid on the blender, press the button, let it run for a while? What would we pour out? And what I think we'd pour out is that blended approach to cosmetology and barbering. Many of you have heard me in a clipper class say you got to oil the clipper. You got to oil the clipperer. You got to drink when you're talking like this. Give me a moment. Thank you. Just got to keep me talking and keep me flowing here. I haven't really been paying attention to chat. Are you guys talking? You guys chatting? I see a whole bunch of hello. I see a hello. Hey, let's get this party started. That's the kind of class I want to have. Hey, there's my buddy Zane tuning in here. Good to have you here. Your parking lot is so cool. Yeah, okay. Just want to check up on the chat. All right, Taylor, you need the book. Taylor, you're absolutely right. Taylor, don't buy the book yet. Wait for the coupon code. All right, let's get into it. Let's look at this from two sides. Let's ask the question, what can the barbers learn from the cosmetologists? What are the three big, and for the purposes of our program, I want to focus on three. What are the three big takeaways that the barber folks can glean from the cosmetology market? You're a barber, whether you're in barber school now or you've been out of barber school a little bit, or whether you're a veteran who's been in the game for a long time, and you're looking at your business and you're looking for opportunity and you're looking at cos and you're going, what's going on over there? What are they doing that could be valuable for me, for my business, my market, and my customers? So let's look at, we're getting into the meat of it now, the three big takeaways. What is the number one takeaway that I think the barbers can benefit from the cosmetology industry? Number one on my list is the offering of a broader menu. Let's get very specific here. You walk into a lot of barbershops. What do they do in barbershops? Haircut. You do anything else? We do haircuts. They might do shaves and they might do a beard trim. But generally speaking, in men's grooming, in traditional barber environments, and more modern men's haircutting establishments, the menu is very, very limited and very, very narrow. There's not a lot going on. And then what happens when you look at cosmetology, when we talk about the menu? Well, cosmetologists are some creative folk. We never stop innovating services. We never let up with new, unique, and different things to do and to offer our customers on our menu. If you've ever been in a salon and looked at the menu board, this is like being in a restaurant. It just goes on and on and on. If you've ever picked up a little tri-fold menu off the desk in a hair salon and looked at the list of things they offer, they cut hair and they style hair and they updo hair and they offer braids and they offer color. Well, color by itself, how many things do they offer in the color category? And then there's conditioning treatments, and there's a never-ending list of things that and we keep innovating, we keep adding things. We add hair painting, and then we get fancy and call it balayage, and then we come up with other things to paint it on instead of foil and paper and foam, and who knows. And to Cosmetology's credit, every time they come up with another one of these things to add to the menu, it's never cheap. It's always asking a pretty penny for the latest and the greatest. And I think that's great. And I think it's a place where for barber professionals can truly take a page out of traditional cosmetology. So number one on the list of opportunities for barbers to cross over into cos is expanding your menu. Now, here's where we get to the assignments or the homework associated with the class, because every one of the elements, there's going to be 6 elements, 3 from barber to cos and 3 from cos to barber, every one of these elements has a little bit of, I don't want to call it homework, I don't want to call it busy work, but there's exercises, there's things you can do if you're looking to move in this direction. So under, flip my paper, under broader menu, number 1, and you can do this right now while we're shut down. You can do this from home. You can do this on your computer. And by the way, a footnote, while we're talking about doing things from home, on my website at ivanzoot.com, and I'm going to write this up, ivanzoot.com. There's my website right there for everybody. It's ivanzoot.com. This is where I get fancy instead of a PowerPoint. ivanzoot.com. One of the things I have running on the website is something we are calling Haircutter Success Camp. And because we're shut down with coronavirus right now and haircutters are home, everybody's staying home, can't go to the shop, I'm coming up with a daily challenge for haircutters, something to do every day. It's an exercise, it's a challenge, it's a project, it's a little something to do every day to keep your mind humming along, to keep you moving, and to see to it that when we go back, whenever we go back, sooner or later, we're going to go back, probably later than sooner. We want to go back better. We want to go back smarter, sharper, leaner, meaner, and more excited and more knowledgeable and more capable than we were the day that they pulled the plug on us to protect us from us. So here we go. On broader menu, number 1, get online and look up hair salons and click on their menu and start looking at services. One thing that might be fun might be to take a Word file or an Excel spreadsheet and create a list of services. And every time you see a new service on another menu, add it to the list. So maybe this salon's got 10 items on their menu and this salon's got 24 items, but 7 of them are overlaps from what the other guys had. And continue to do this for maybe 10, 15, or 20 salons that you can find online, because all these places have their menus online. I think by the time you're done with that, you might have a list from 20 shops allowing for overlap. You could conceivably have a list of 60 or 70 different services that you could provide. Now, I'm not saying you should provide 60 or 70 services in your business, but I am saying there might be an opportunity to take from that big list a really nice assortment that could be really, really good for you and your business. So that's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is for later, when we can go back out, when they will allow us to visit hair salons. What am I going to tell you to do? I'm going to tell you to visit hair salons. I'm going to tell you to take a field trip. I think in our industry, we go to school and we're in our clinics and we go back to school. And sometimes, especially as a student, we're not getting out and about as much as we could or should. And I think it's really, really valuable during our $1,500 or $1,200 or $1,800, whatever it is in your state. I forget what Wisconsin is. Illinois here is 15. Somebody ping it in the notes. How many hours you guys need to graduate? Tell me. But during that time, to make a real concerted attempt to maybe every 100 hours visit at least 3 establishments that are serving the public to really get a good look at them. But while you're there, get your cell phone, take a picture of that menu, get a physical copy of the menu, and do that similar exercise. The cool thing is we can do much of that exercise right now online. So number 1 was a broader menu. You ready for number 2? Number 2 on the list, barber to cos crossover. I think a lot of barbers today can benefit from the cosmetology industry by taking a good look at what we will call structured cutting. Structured cutting. We in cosmetology have a much deeper history of more disciplined cutting technique. Barbers traditionally don't do a lot of hold your hair in fingers. Barbers don't do a lot of sections, subsections, and partings. I tend to think of this as more Sassoon-inspired, more structured haircutting. There's lots of folks out there that teach in the cosmetology end of the world some really great structured type cutting where we're being very deliberate, where we use words like tension, distribution, elevation, projection angle, section, subsection, where we work with the small teeth on the fine end of the comb because we're building something in a very different way. And again, please do not under any circumstances interpret this conversation as negative comments about barber haircutting, because barber haircutting is its own really cool way of looking at the world. I'm just looking at my texts here because I am getting some text coming in from you guys while we're running, and I want to make sure I am online here. Okay, yeah, 1,550 hours, Wisconsin. Thank you for that. Okay, good. We're up on board. All right, structured cutting. So I think the barber folks can benefit from a lot of this. You know, a lot of holding the hair up with a comb and zipping it with a clipper, or holding the hair up with a comb and cutting it with the scissors. Clipper and scissor over comb are very much classic barber techniques, and they can create beautiful, smooth, nice, layered, blended haircuts, but they don't qualify under that structured headline. Here's my tips on structured cutting. Number 1, watch cutting videos. There's tons and tons of great education online of a more structured nature that I think can be very beneficial to a lot of barber folk that want to pick up on a lot of these or barber folk that want to pick up on a lot of these more cosmetology focused cutting techniques. The other thing, and again, when we can get back to these things, is barbers, I think you can take cutting classes, whether it be academy classes or show classes or private classes that are presented by some of the names in the cosmetology end of the business that do offer this more structured approach. Stay away from the clipper classes. Most barbers don't need another clipper class. You're probably pretty good in that regard already. As far as some things you can do online now, and I want to double back in a minute because I forgot something on broader menu, but a couple things I'll offer here. Write these down in your notes. You'll look into them. If you're not familiar with the website and the social media account, Free Salon Education, look this guy up. He's out of Pennsylvania. I forget his name, but he's under the banner Free Salon Education. He posts a lot of great haircutting video, and a lot of his video absolutely falls into what we'll call structured cosmetology cutting. He's great. And another great one, a good friend of mine, Kim Weaver Moore, her company, her brand is Head Shape Matters. When you go online, when you go to Facebook, her Facebook group is a Facebook group called Haircutting Only. And if you just Google Head Shape Matters, she teaches a really great, very disciplined, mathematical. She's got people in classes with rulers and protractors, really digging the science of the math of how we build haircuts on the cos side of our thinking. So Kim's a good one. Backtrack just a minute on broader menu. I forgot to mention a web resource, because for every one of these, I have not only my homework tips, but I also have the web resources. Under broader menu, one of the guys I want you to look at on Instagram is a guy named Morono, M-O, I'm going to write it down, M-O-R-O-N-O, Morono. This guy's out of like the Virginia, D.C. area. This guy for barbers is all about adding services and adding more expense. This guy's about making big money in the barber end of the business. But one of his Morono's big sort of points is we can't just be doing $12, $18, $24, even $30 haircuts. Morono wants you to have $150 client tickets, $200, the kind of client tickets we see on the cause side of the business. So check out Morono as it relates to that broader menu, topic number 1. Topic number 2 was structured cutting. Topic number 3 that I believe finishes up, rounds out, and completes the big 3 for what are the barber folks best able to take from the world of cosmetology. And I think the Aveda folks will embrace this enthusiastically when I say it. I think those that know me, those that have heard me, those that have seen me, they can smell this one coming a mile away, and no real pun intended by saying you can smell it. And that is the use, recommendation, and sale of professional take-home hair care product. There is no question that one of the largest crossover opportunities for the barber world is the great mistake that's been made in barbering of failing to embrace the opportunity to be very good, very aggressive, very successful profiteers from the art of take-home. You got to be using product in the shop. Don't ever use anything in the shop that's not available for sale up front. You got to be talking about product. You got to have product available for purchase. You got to be engaging with, connecting with customers as it relates to product. You know, maybe some other day, I don't want to go into the details here, but the process of retailing was really invented by the barber world and the barber community. It was invented in probably what would be about the mid to late 1800s. And the barbers were very aggressive about this take-home activity. And then they got away from it. Then they moved away from it. And retailing in the beauty industry in general didn't really come back until about the 1960s, around the time that the Sassoon era kicked in, when people were no longer having their hair shampoo rolled and set and, you know, put under the dryer like they did through the 50s and 60s and everything. Sassoon showed up, everything changed, and that's when retailing kicked in on the cause side. But the barbers have never picked back up on it. I'm going to offer some suggestions for the barber folk to leverage this retailing opportunity. Number 1 is what I call a universal item. If you've never had any retail, I'm not going to tell you to purchase 40 different items and a huge rack of product and a ton of different stuff. I'm going to tell you to start with one. Start with an item that you feel is very broad-based and very universal, something that the vast majority of your customers could all buy. You know, it's one of those things like we all wash our hair. Now, there are different shampoos for different hair types, and we can get pretty tricky and complicated there. But in the barber guy category, there's probably a good, what we call a broad spectrum shampoo. You could sell it to everybody. Start with one item. Buy 6 of one item, talk it up, use it, and sell it. And use the money from that to support additional purchases. The next thing is what we call the core item concept. The core item concept is the idea that it's very difficult to be an expert about everything, but it's not hard to know a lot about a little. Pick 4 items. Maybe a shampoo, a conditioner, a styling product, and a finishing product. 4 items. Know everything you can about those 4 and recommend the one of the 4 that is most appropriate for the individual who's in your chair right now. Keep it narrow, keep it focused in that way, and build from that core. If you start out with 4 items in that way, later on you can expand those offerings. Lastly on my list is what I call item of the week. The item of the week concept is the idea of having one item that is the item of the week, and keep it that way for about 4 weeks, because we have clients that filter in over a course of 4 weeks. So maybe it's the item of the month, if you will, because it doesn't change every week. And talk about that item with every customer, even if it's not appropriate for them. Maybe you've got a client with straight hair and the item of the week is a shampoo for curly hair. Still tell them about it. It's better to be talking about hair than it is to be talking about other things that are inappropriate in the shop environment. Talk about hair. Tell them about that item. And you can say, this item isn't for you, but it's a really cool item I want you to know about. Chances are the item is good for somebody they know, or it might spark a conversation in which they say, you know, you're right, that item's not right for me because my hair is straight and that's for curly, but what do you have for straight? Before you know it, you're having a product conversation. Before you know it, you're making a sale. All right. As far as the homework project on that one, what I'm going to give you there is two things. Number one, start looking at manufacturer websites to learn about their products. Start looking at videos and reading and learning about different products and different categories, and hang a goal out there. You know, when I got into the business a long time ago, they used to tell us that the goal was that 10% of your total incoming revenue should be coming from product. 90% of your money should be coming from services. 10% should be coming from product. That's no longer really the case. Today, fast forward, because products have become more complicated and more expensive, and because haircut prices have not kept up with the rest of the economy, it is much more realistic to expect especially a barber professional, to be running about 30% of their revenue coming from 30%, not 10, coming from product, and only 70% from service, with a big, healthy product business there. So that covers the three elements of what I think are the best things that the barbers can take from Cos. And I notice we've got some good questions in here. What aspects of each program do you consider to be the most valuable? You know, programming is different. A Cos program in one school still varies from a Cos program in another school, but the core curriculums are the same. I think because of the breadth and depth of what goes on in Cos, I think the barber folks dig a little bit deeper into hair cutting specifically. And I think, again, because of the breadth and depth of what goes on in Cos, the flip side of that is in Cos, you get a much wider and deeper education. So I think that's one of the ways that they're different and one of the ways that they show off their strengths. Do you recommend that Cos students go back to get a barber license if they want to extend knowledge on the topic, or is being mentored a better option? Sophia, great question. One of the most common questions I get right now, and that is, should I go back and get a crossover license? I don't think so. I think if you have a Cos license, you're licensed to do everything. Just get out there and get busy and find a mentor. Find somebody, find somebody who knows what you want to know, who does what you want to do, who has what you want to have, who is where you want to be, and study under them. That's how most of us in the industry have learned, is through that mentoring. You already have your ticket into the game. You already have a license. You're in. Start running. Put on your tennies and run with what you've got. All right, we'll get to more questions in the Q&A portion. Let's flip the sheet. Let's go to the other side. Let's pause for a drink. Let's pause for... The ice is melting and getting stuck on me here. Sorry about that. Question, I'm just checking my text here. Question, how long did it take for you to get comfortable with barbering? I got into the men's end of the business really quick, but my answer to that has always been the same for many, many years. People ask all the time, I'm like a big flat top guy. The top is getting fuzzy and growing out because I can't go get a haircut. I tapered the sides myself today. I do that from time to time. But I'm a flat top guy, and people get really itchy, nervous, tweaky, about flat tops. But what I tell people all the time is this: flat top number 400 that you cut will be perfect. Listen to that again. Flat top number 400 that you cut will be perfect. What I'm trying to say here is volume cures everything. If there's anything you don't know how to do in this business, how long did it take to get comfortable with barbering? How long did it take to get comfortable putting in foils? How long did it take to get comfortable doing an updo that wasn't going to fall out halfway through a wedding? The answer is the same. Volume cures everything. If there's something you're afraid of, if there's something that makes you nervous, just do a lot of them. Run straight into the fire. Run right at what scares you most, and you'll nail it. It's just that simple. All right, cosmetologists, what can you take from the barbers? Second half of the program. Number one, guy culture. The barbershops have done a really good job of promoting, supporting, emulating, extending, and embracing guy culture. You know when you're in a barbershop, and you know when you're in a men's focused hair salon. Milwaukee's got quite a few of these. You know, there's one up off the campus. My younger son is now a graduated last May from UWM. There's a great one right on Oakland around the corner from him. There's a couple of them, I think, of these men's cosmetology salons. They're not barbershops, but they do a great job of tapping into guy culture, whether it's elements of decor, whether it's the way the place looks, feels, smells. Yeah, I think the Cos folks can learn from that. If you work at, I always say this jokingly, if you work at a place called Paula's Pampered Poodle Palace, and you get the idea what kind of cosmetology environment that is, it smells like fingernails and perm solution, and you've got old hood dryers. You know, this is not a place that is welcoming and inviting to guys. I think you need to some extent, build guy culture. I don't think that means you need to turn the place into a bar. Don't get me wrong. I don't think you need NASCAR posters on the wall, but I think you need to be open to embracing the other 50% of the population in that way. Couple of resources. Number one, again, websites. Get on the web now while we're shut down and look at the websites of these places. A lot of them have pictures of their establishments. You can see what they look like. A lot of them lay out their website to emulate the feel of the decor of the shop. So I think emulating guy culture is a big one. Number two, of course, when we can get to it, when you can get back out on the street, is field trips. We can't go there now. I think right now, in the interest of social distancing, there's nothing to prevent you from going for a walk and looking in the window on a bunch of really cool barbershops and men's grooming places. That's social distancing, and that's okay right now. And a little bit of fresh air and sunshine will probably do you good. The one thing I'll recommend in this one, go online and look up the website and go to the library online and download the book called The Art of Manliness. This is like the book that your dad would write for your kid or grandpa would write for his grandsons. It just really talks about what it means in a very traditional sense to be a guy. And I think there's lots of culture and things we can steal from that to support what we're doing, building men's business on the cos side of the business. Point number two on this one is you got to sharpen up your short game. If stuff like this, blending this, if this scares you, you need to go there. Your short game is going to be key. Not all men's haircuts are short, but the short game is where the barbers really excel. Whether it is clipper over comb, moving up into blades and guards directly on the head, moving into, this was a trimmer blended up into a clipper, blended up into longer lengths. You really got to focus on your short game, and your short game's got to be confident and solid. Video learning. I've got a couple of names of people I'm going to refer you to there. And we got somebody coming up in this Beauty Cares program. I don't remember when they're scheduled, but Roderick Samuels is one. I know he's scheduled. He's a friend of mine, owns a school in Michigan. He's going to be doing a fade on one of these programs. You'll be able to learn directly from one of my good buddies and good friends, Roderick Samuels. So there's video learning. Get online, get on Insta, get on YouTube and follow and find some of these people. When you can, when we can get back out to it, hang out in the shop. I learned how to fade and taper textured hair by hanging out in a barbershop in an African-American community where I could see that kind of work being done. Sitting on the bench, sitting in the waiting area, hanging out and watching. Go in Milwaukee out on, I think it's on Fond du Lac Avenue. Go to G's Clippers and go hang out in that place. That's a place in Milwaukee where you can see some great work and you can learn a ton when you're there. And then the last one on here is take models short. When you're cutting your kid and your brother and your boyfriend and your uncle and your daddy and your grandpa, take them shorter. These people love you. They're family. These people are willing to sacrifice for your learning. Take them shorter. It'll grow back. Don't worry about it. but take them shorter so you can get that practice. As far as resources in this category, I mentioned my buddy Roderick Samuels. There's another guy on there, Kenny Duncan Education. Look him up online on Instagram. He may be KD Education on Insta. Let me look. I want to make sure I get it right because Kenny's worth not missing. Let's see, Kenny. He's K Duncan Grooming on Instagram. There he is right there at the top of that one. K Duncan Grooming. Also a good buddy of mine and one of the best in the business on really breaking down some good short hair. And the last one I want to refer you to, I'm going to pull him up as well. HWTO FADE. This is a guy, his name is Neves Almaraz. He's on Instagram as How to Fade Hair. Real simple, How to Fade Hair. His website, howtofadehair.com. What would be a better web? My website's ivanzoot.com. Let's keep it simple. But Neves has got a really solid short hair game. Last on the list for the Cos folks crossing over to barbering, the last thing I want to point out is face facts, is how I listed it. And what we're talking about here is facial hair. We're talking about mustache, beard, goatee, sideburns, what we call facial hair patterning. It's that whole subject and category of dealing with the beard game. As female cosmetologists, many females are freaked out here. They haven't shaved themselves. They haven't really got a big footing in this, but it's huge. You know, I was doing a class in a salon recently. We were doing a neckline class talking about razoring and tight tapering and fading necklines and sideburn areas. But on our model, we had 6 people and 6 models. We couldn't do any sideburns on any of them because all 6 had some form of beard or facial hair. So it is that big. 6 out of 6 in that one class recently. Start looking at beards. Start paying attention to what you're seeing on a lot of dudes in the facial hair category. Look at how the length, you know, you can taper a beard. You can evenly layer a beard. You can increase layer a beard short to long or long to short. It's hair. Think of it as hair on the other side of the head, but it's hair. And you want to get comfortable, you want to get to know it, and you want to get comfortable working with it. Of course, videos are a great way to learn. Hanging out in shops, of course, another great way to learn. And lastly, of course, is literally roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty in it. Get into it. A couple of resources for you. 2 in the beard category and 1 in the shaving category. One of them is more a consumer website, but I think it's still valuable. Take a look at Mr. Official. And I think he's Official Cuts. Let me just check him out. MROFF. Yeah, he's Mr. Official. That's his name. This guy's like the beard god. It was his birthday yesterday, so I reached out and wished him a happy birthday. He's a friend of mine. He's also based in the Chicago suburbs. But look, he's got 250,000 followers on social media. This guy's the beard wizard, the beard guru. Check him out. Another good one in the beard category, and this guy's got a righteous beard, is Miami Barber. Mo the Barber. You can see his beard in his little profile picture here. He works with a couple of product companies. I know him from some shows. He's from Miami. That's, you know, where he gets his name, I guess. Miami Barber. He's a good resource. And then on Instagram and on the web, there's a company out there called Shave Nation. And it's located in the Chicago area, and they sell shaving products and supplies. But the owner is a guy goes by the name Geo Fat Boy. That's his name. I didn't make it up. I'm going to write it down because I don't think he's on Insta, but he's GeoFatBoy. If I was picking online names, that is not the name I would have picked for me. But this dude's got a YouTube channel, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos related to shaving. His content is more consumer focused, but he's just got the goods. This guy really knows his stuff. He's with Shave Nation. That's his company. Geo Fat Boy. He's definitely worth taking a good look at, getting to know a little bit. So Barber to Cos, it was broader menu, structured cutting, and take-home selling. And Cos to Barber, it is guy culture, short game, and facial hair grooming. Those are the three from the two sides of our industry, from these two communities that I think represent the greatest opportunities for folks to tap into what the other guys are doing. Now, before we go to Q&A, I want to mention a couple things. I do want to mention one of my corporate sponsors are the folks from Booksy. Booksy are the online app-based appointment booking folks. A big shout out to them and a thank you for supporting me in the programming that I do. And for my friends from Wisconsin, you guys very well know, also a Wisconsin company, and I know you guys participate in their certification and things like that. And no more better time to talk about them than Barbicide. Barbicide's a Milwaukee-based company. They're the world leader in sanitation and infection control in the beauty and barber industry. You guys know Leslie. I know she's been out to the schools to provide programming and support, and they're a big supporter of me and the good things that I do. Before we go to questions, I also want to mention my latest book. Now, I told you guys earlier about $100,000 Hair Cutter. It's available on Amazon and available on my website, which is ivanzoot.com. There it is. There's your reminder on my website. The new book came out this year, 100 by 100. This is 100 new haircut customers in 100 days, guaranteed. It's a day-by-day, step-by-step plan over 100 days to blow up your business. Day by day, step by step, one thing a day. Now, no matter who you are in the business, if you're brand new, 100 customers launches your career. If you've been in the business a little bit, 100 customers moves you to the next level. And if you're an established hair cutter who's busy, 100 new hair cutters blows up your chair, it raises your price, and it takes you to the next level. This book is available for free. Remember, you guys are near and dear to me because of the launch of 100,000. The new book, if you go online to ivanzoot.com, it says free book offer. Click on there and get the book. It's got a link and a coupon code. You pay $9.95 shipping and handling. The new book is yours for free, and I'm excited to offer it to you and your community. Here's your coupon code, guys, when you shop at my website. Beth, T-A-T-G-E, Techie. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I told you I'd have a coupon code for you. It's right there. ibw.edu. ibw.edu. That is a 25% off coupon code for my ivanzoot.com web store. The free book uses a different code. That's on the page at the free book offer. But anything you want to buy 100,000, 25% off. Use your code. This code is good for 1 week from today, and then it's gone. So use it sometime in the next week. And by the way, if we get past the week and the code expires and you want the code, you guys are my friends. Just send me a DM on any social media outlet. And of course, I will take good care of you. Time for Q&A. Time for the big questions. I'm looking at the last question I can see on my screen, and then they were going to text me some questions, and we'll get into it. What is your advice for someone who is nervous and scared when they have a men's cut? I think I answered that one already. Do 400 of them, and you will not be nervous or scared. Cut people who love you. Cut people who are friendly and supportive. No one who's not comfortable and confident should be thrown out on the floor in a hair salon or thrown out on the floor in a school clinic. Well, wait a minute. You can be thrown out on the floor in a clinic. That's not true. No one should be thrown out on the floor in a professional hair salon who's not comfortable and confident. But you're at school. At school, your friends love you. Your teachers love you. And the clients know that you're a student. You have this gift. You have this incredible release of liability. There's a sign. It's hanging by the door. All work performed by students under the supervision of a licensed instructor. What does that sign say in English? In English, that sign says, chances are today, stuff's going to go bad. And it's okay because we're learning. We're doing stuff we don't. If you already knew how to do it all, you wouldn't be at school. So go for it, and you will get comfortable. The more you do, the more comfortable you'll get. How many different clippers do you have in your toolbox? Is that Gaia? Great question. I believe that good men's hair cutting, good barbering, good clipper cutting is a 3-tool game. You need 2 clippers and a trimmer. You need a high-power rotary motor interchangeable detachable blade clipper. You need an adjustable blade tapering clipper for fading, tapering, and blending. And you need a trimmer, liner, or edger. You're going to need one of each of those tools. It's a 3-tool game. When you see these lunatics on Instagram posting pictures of their stations and they got like 48 clippers on their stations, they're not using most of those and they don't need most of those. And that's just like people showing off with fancy gym shoes. They're just bragging and they're not really using those tools to cut. What brand of clippers do you use? I use a variety of different brands. I pick and choose tools. I do not have a branded manufacturer sponsor at this point in time, so I use what I like, different tools for different things at different times. Currently, I'm really digging. There's a clipper called the JRL Model 1090. I'm going to write that one down for you and hold it up so you can see it. It's called JRL1090. JRL 1090. That's a really great adjustable blade, lithium-ion, cordless, battery-operated clipper. I'm also using a Wall Mentor from Wall Clipper. That is a rotary motor, high-powered detachable that I'm digging a lot right now. And in the trimmer category, I'm using the Wall Cordless Detailer. So right now on my station in my shop, Wall Cordless Detailer, that's my trimmer. Wall Mentor, that's my rotary detachable. And JRL 1090, that is my adjustable tapering clipper. All around favorite tool, Julianne, that's an interesting question because it's not a clipper. My all-around favorite tool, this is my deserted island question. If I was alone, stranded, abandoned, shipwrecked on a deserted island, and I could only have one hair cutting tool, it would be my Feather Freestyle hair cutting razor. That feather razor, I can work magic. I can cut anybody and do anything. And since we're on a deserted island, I don't have any place to plug in and charge the clipper. So I got to have something that doesn't require a clipper. I own scissors. I'm a scissor guy, but not so much as I am some of these other tools. I'm going to look over at my guards or blades. Do you prefer? The answer is guards and blades, detachable blades, and snap-on guards are the same animal. You use them the same way. You manipulate them the same way. There are some differences in their performance. I believe you start with guards because they're cheap and you get them free with a clipper. And later you upgrade to blades as your skills improve. Let's see what we have here. Okay, no, they haven't sent me any new questions. I can go up through the question log. Have you ever tried anything from Babyliss that you like? The answer is I've used a few tools from them. I have a Flash FX trimmer that's got a really precise blade that I like, but its battery life isn't great. And I've used every clipper from every single brand. I don't want to speak negatively about any brand, but that's not one of the brands that I reach for first, if I must be honest. What's my thought on Cordless Masters? The answer is I had samples of the Cordless Master when it was in development. Many of you may know I worked for the Andis company for almost 20 years, running all their shows in education, involved in their R&D and a variety of other things. It's a good tool. It's a great tool. It's not really a master because a master traditionally in my mind is a magnetic tool. A master is heavier. A master is faster than that. All cordless tools generally are rotary, and they're not the same as the magnetic motor in the traditional master. I think it's a great tool, and a lot of people are loving it. It might not be one of my first ones that I might reach for. We're coming up on the end of an hour here. It's about 2:55, and I know that there is a program scheduled for 3 o'clock. We'll take one or two more questions. We wanted to start on time, which we did, because Ivan always starts on time, Ivan runs on time, Ivan stays on time, Ivan ends on time, and Ivan respects the next presenter who's coming in. These guys are working hard to give you guys a ton of great content. Remember, ivanzoot.com is the website. There's your coupon code for your discount. 100 by 100 is free. $100,000 hair cutter is 25% off with your coupon code right there. You see a lot of women going down the barbering path. Absolutely right now. I mean, it's the hottest thing in cosmetology is this. That's why I wanted to do this conversation is the cos folks are going bananas right now for this cos crossover. And, you know, I'll say this and we'll wrap up with this comment. Some of the barber competitions around the country are having lady barber segments or lady barber competitions, and some of them are having lady barber showcases, and some of them are having lady barber classes. And I just guess there's no other way to say this than I think the lady barber thing is a bunch of crap. What difference does it make that you're a female? There are I got a female barber. The girl that cuts my hair is a girl. And she's not a girl, she's a lady. She's a woman. And she cuts my hair because she's great. And it has nothing to do with her gender. And I think we need to get beyond that in the industry and say, barbers. If you're a barber license, you're a barber. And if you're a cos professional doing men's grooming, great. But I don't think your gender has any bearing on it. I think we should let all the ladies compete with all the guys, because I think some of the ladies are going to smoke some of the guys in some of these barber competitions. And I think that's a great point on which to end what has, I hope, been a very informative and a very valuable program for all of you. Listen, guys, they're going to ask you guys if you liked me and if you like this. If you liked me and you like this, tell them that, so they'll invite me back to do it again. If you didn't like me and you didn't like this, don't say anything to anybody, because I want to come back and do this again and share more programming. I want to do some technical cutting with you guys. I want to get into some clientele and business building stuff with you guys, and I want to have more fun. So tell everybody that you love this program. Tell everybody we want Ivan back. Go to my website and treat yourself to a book. You got nothing to do but read right now. And I don't know if your folks are going to jump in here and close the program out, or if they're just waiting for me to say goodbye, or if at some point they're just going to pull the plug on me and I'll go away. But I'm going to end with the same words I used to begin. On behalf of myself and my sponsor brands and everything, Aveda, thank you so much for inviting me in, for giving me the opportunity to share and be a part of this program today. I hope you guys enjoyed the program. Reach out to me. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on my Patreon page. Send me DM messages if I can help you. I'm on all the social platforms. Go to my YouTube. Watch a bunch of videos. Stay home. Stay safe. Don't talk to anybody, and wash your hands. Thank you. Have a great day.